Okay, everyone, best to clear about 8 hours in your diary because we have got a hell of a lot to get through on today's video. Hearts 2, Celtic 0. It was a very frustrating afternoon, it's fair to say. I don't know if you agree. I certainly won't be rushing to re-watch that game at any point, well, in the rest of my life, to be honest. I'm kind of happy just to chat about it a bit on this video and then hopefully never discuss it ever again. It's fair to say we were kind of reinvigorated as a support going into this match. Obviously the 7-1 victory over Dundee in midweek, was a huge part of that, and the team looking like a team you wanted to actually watch again. So many positives in that match. And, we were given a boost on Saturday when Rangers unexpectedly lost at home to Motherwell. It was a massive boost to us. And, yesterday didn't go as planned. We were unable to really take the opportunity and, grab that momentum and continue that momentum and go top of the league. So, yesterday's game, a game of big moments, it's fair to say, with none of them actually going our way in the end. The first one, after 11 minutes, Yang is fouled by Alex Cochrane inside the penalty box. It is a penalty for me. Cochrane is on the wrong side and he fouls Yang. And then Adam Ida, who we were starting to think was a bit of a penalty specialist and someone we could finally hang our hat on with regards to those kind of situations, steps up and has absolutely no conviction in his spot kick, puts it down the middle, and Zander Clark saves it with his legs. And that was a major moment in the game that I think Adam Ida's got to take some sort of blame for, because if we scored that, we would have hopefully kicked on at that stage. It's the kind of opportunity you have to take, and we just don't do it often enough, from the penalty spot. I just want to say, by the way, we'll come on to Adam Ida. I thought there was plenty of positives from him yesterday. I actually thought he had a good game, but that wasn't a great moment. That was actually our 15th penalty of the season. And I spent far too long earlier creating this graphic, which includes them all. And it does actually include Lewis Palma's original penalty against Ross County, which you may remember had to be retaken. I've included it because it was still a miss, even if it won't ever actually be included in the historical records. Anyway, 15 taken, 9 scored, 6 missed. That's a success rate of 60%, which, isn't great. As you can see, I think 4 players there. Palma has taken, 6, scored 3. Ida's in there. Yesterday was his third penalty. He scored 2 and obviously missed yesterday. Hatate scored 1, missed 1. And David Turnbull has 3 successful penalties and 1 missed. So, that's where all the penalties went. A lot of them going to the left, and the vast majority of the ones to the left not successful. So my bit of advice, if you're watching future Celtic penalty taker, hit it to the right. How about that? It's not a great record. It's really turned into a bit of an issue. You just never feel confident when a Celtic player's stepping up for a penalty, and 9 out of 15 really isn't a good record. You'd be looking to score, I don't know, at least 12 out of 15 if you're a half-decent team at penalties. I don't know if we don't practice them. I don't know if it's just because we don't have players that are good at them, if it's become a thing where players are now nervous. But the thing I'd say about a lot of those penalties, just remembering some of them and looking at that graphic, a lot of them low, a lot of them kind of, I don't know the word you want to use, if you want to call them, nonchalant or weak or whatever, but a lot of them lacking a bit of conviction. And Ida sadly was included in that yesterday. They're not great saves keepers are making. They're kind of, players are trying to be too cute or clever and they're not coming off. So that's all I'll say in that. Hopefully the next big penalty we get, we take it, because you really don't want it costing us, glory at the end of the season. So yeah, that was a big moment, obviously. But from that point, it's still goalless, 11v11, and we still started the game pretty well. We then have Yang, who has been, really good for us over the last week, admittedly, but still, he gets a red card for a high boot on Alex Cochrane, the player that fouled him for a penalty. And yeah, it's given us a yellow card initially from Don Robertson, fine, and then John Beaton gets involved, and suddenly Celtic are down to 10 men. Now, for me, if football has decided that kind of challenge is a red card every time, then yeah, I don't agree with it. But if that's the decision, the minute your boot goes up in the air, near a player's face, no contact, but near a player's face, it's a red, that's fine, we can move on. The difficulty is that I can guarantee you there will be something else like that on a Celtic player before the end of the season that will not be given as a red card. I think, and I don't know this for sure, but I saw screenshots on Twitter, I should have looked into this. I think from last week at Fir Park there was one similar. A boot in the face of a Celtic player, obviously not given as a red card. So that's a bit I really struggle with. I just keep going back to this clear and obvious error thing. That is the parameters for which VAR can get involved in a match according to the SFA and all the kind of the IFAB and all that stuff. It has to be clear and obvious for VAR to get involved. Is that a clear and obvious error yesterday? For me, a yellow card suffices there. Yellow card fair, and we move on with the match. It's been re-refereed from John Beaton, and I don't really understand it, but listen, that moment is nothing in comparison to the penalty kick that Hearts get just before half-time. It's a total nonsense. It's on Tomoki Iwata, who is off balance for a start, has no idea where the ball is, and that's not his fault, by the way. It's just the way players kind of come out. He gets a nudge at the last minute, and I don't know, the ball brushes off like his elbow, or maybe just above his elbow, and no Hearts player appeals for it. And by the way, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players there within 10 yards of the incident. Not one of them appeals for it, which I think is pretty telling. Yet we are led to believe that was a clear and obvious error that occurred there from the on-field referee. Like what? And then you hear Chris Boyd at halftime saying that he felt it was a harsh decision to give a penalty. And when Chris Boyd is saying that it was a harsh decision to give a penalty against Celtic, it probably was. A reminder, by the way, that John Beaton was the referee for a Celtic Rangers derby match, start of 2023, when Connor Goldson somehow managed not to give a penalty away, despite literally beginning to play basketball for a split second. Beaton didn't think that was a penalty on the pitch, yet for the VAR studio yesterday he thinks that Iwata's was, or certainly that Don Robertson should be sent over to the monitor to basically do what he tells him to do, because that's how it works. Yeah, frustrating. Listen, I don't absolve Celtic of all blame for yesterday. I think that we could have done more. But two major decisions went against us, to reduce us to 10 players, and then to give a penalty against us. It just never was. And the team were always, facing an uphill battle from that point. There was just other things yesterday as well. Alex Cochrane made it to the 86th minute without picking up a yellow card, despite giving away a penalty kick, and despite scything down 2 Celtic players. I think it was Johnson, and certainly O'Reilly was the second one, within 20 seconds of each other. Yet he wasn't booked until another bad tackle in the 86th minute. It was just a bizarre refereeing performance. Meanwhile, Daniel Kelly was booked for his first foul. I mean, make it make sense. Brendan Rodgers, by the way, very critical of the officials yesterday, and actually very critical, even more critical, of John Beaton, mentioning him by name. Rodgers quoted as saying, "I never like to comment on the officials. That's not something I do. But that cost us today, the officiating. From on-field, from John Beaton on VAR. That was really, really poor. The first incident, if you put a still on that, of course it looks dangerous, but that's not the reality of the move. There's no force there. The ball's popped up. Okay, it's a booking. That was really disappointing to go down to 10 men with that. But to receive the penalty against us, wow, that was even worse. If you watch the incident again, Tomo has jumped. He's on his way down. He's not looking. He's been nudged a little bit, which pushes his arm out. That there is absolutely shocking decision making. I feel really, really disappointed. We're down a man, we get a poor penalty against us, and all of a sudden you're chasing the game. Rogers also mentioned a handball from Dan Casey of Motherwell against us last weekend. Can't remember if I brought that up on the channel. I certainly planned to, but I maybe didn't bother in the end. But I remember that one, and I can't believe VAR didn't look at it. I mean, when you compare it to Iwata's yesterday, and if you were to say to someone, one was a penalty and one wasn't, you would be stunned at the one that was deemed a penalty. And you can add in the one at Tynecastle, last season as well, the Michael Smith one. So that's not a penalty, but Iwata's yesterday was. I mean, it's genuinely you're questioning, how the hell did we get to this point? Yeah. Rant over with regards to the officials. Celtic clearly hamstrung by the officiating yesterday. Yet I do still think we could probably have offered more in the match and put up more of a fight at times. Iwata, while he was obviously hard done by for the penalty, had a pretty torrid afternoon. Maybe that had an effect on him, but to be honest, even before then he was poor. His dallying on the ball for the Hearts' second goal that was ruled out for an offside was so bad and so frustrating. And he really struggled in the second half as well. The whole left side was really poor. Dyson Maeda had a bit of a shocker, to be honest. Greg Taylor was poor. Liam Scales was really poor. Positives, I thought we kept playing till the end. We kept creating chances. The team didn't lose heart. I just would have liked to maybe see a bit more resistance, when we went down to 10 men. Maybe defensively putting up more of a fight, maybe in the midfield, but we did still create opportunities. I just think it wasn't going to go in yesterday. It just wasn't our day. We didn't have any conviction in our attacking play. I thought Kyogo and Adamida were positives in that second half. They really linked up quite well and seemed to have quite a good relationship there. Certainly want to see more of that going forward, because that was the one big positive I took away from it, even if, again, neither of them had the conviction to actually take the chances that came to them. I want more from the midfield, I'll be honest. Paulo Bernardo just not doing it for me at the moment. He's clearly got talent, he's not impacting games enough. Matt O'Reilly was poor again. I know there's been suggestions of O'Reilly actually suffering from some sort of fever. Don't know if that's true or not. That would potentially explain him, not being at the level we know he can get to. Callum McGregor didn't play in the match. That was due to an Achilles and calf issue. He'll have a scan this week, but it's expected to miss our upcoming home matches against Livingston in the Scottish Cup and St Johnstone. Probably miss Scotland's international games as well. So yeah, I'm a little conflicted overall, because I don't want to let the team off completely. I do think they could have done more yesterday, and there was certainly performances in there that weren't acceptable. But I do think they had their work cut out from those two big, refereeing or VAR decisions that I've already outlined. My sense is that it was just one of those days, when just nothing was coming off for us. I guess it's easier to pass things off as just one of those days when you're not having multiple those days in a season like we have this year. I think if a game like yesterday had come when we were on a 7 or 8 game winning run, people would probably have been looking at it and going, yeah, fair enough, everything went against it. It's a bit more difficult when you're right in the midst of a title race, and yesterday was such a missed opportunity for the team. Speaking of which, this is how the league table looks. We're as we were at the top. Sure, we've dropped a further goal behind, so we're now 2 goals worse off than our rivals in the goal difference, but the gap is still 2 points. And given the fixtures at the start of the weekend, we'd probably have still been a couple of points behind. That's not me passing any sort of judgment of whether that's the right thing or whether it was a good or a bad weekend. It's just a fact. We're the same distance behind as we were at the start of the weekend. And we continue. I don't really feel that we have much time to feel sorry for ourselves here, or there's any point in doing that. We just need to write yesterday off as a bad day for a number of reasons, some of them out with our control, and really move on now. I mean, we only have, 9 matches remaining in the Premiership. 2 of those are derbies. We're only a couple of points behind, so it's still there to be won for the team. But again, things have to go better than they did yesterday. These are the 4 fixtures that we have before the split, and obviously our rivals there as well. Who knows what a tough match is anymore, because, when they're losing at home to Motherwell, and, we've certainly lost in a lot of games you wouldn't expect us to, and dropped a lot of points in games you wouldn't expect us to. It's hard to know exactly what's a tough game and what's not. The derby there, sticks out for obvious reasons. I would say the other 3 matches simply have to be wins for us. We have to avoid defeat at Ibrox, and if we can do that, we'll be, worst case scenario, a couple of points behind them going into the split, knowing that they're still to come to Celtic Park. That wouldn't be an absolutely terrible position. I think if we're any further than 2 points behind them going into the split fixtures, it's looking quite difficult for us. But yeah, there's a long way to go, and this weekend has proven that points will be dropped from both ourselves and our rivals. We just need to hope that the next time they drop points we can capitalise on it, unlike yesterday when things obviously didn't go to plan. So yeah, we've got a couple of weeks now until we're back in Premiership action. It's the Scottish Cup next weekend, an international break coming up as well. So I feel like we've had a lot of games recently. I think that will maybe feel a bit different over the next few months. It will just be weekend stuff, I think, for the foreseeable. As I say, international break coming up as well. So the games are quite spread out, but it's just a case of getting on with it and hopefully, game at a time, win the match. It's going to be a bit weird having the Scottish Cup this weekend because all the focus has been on the league, but there's obviously a trophy to be won there as well. Just before I go, big bit of news last night as well. Liel Abada, not entirely unexpected, but that he is going to be leaving Celtic to head to MLS side Charlotte FC. Numerous outlets reporting that a deal is imminent and that we will bank an initial fee of £8 million for Abada, potentially rising to as much as £11 million I've seen as well. So I would suggest that's a pretty good deal for the club, all things considered. You can insert your own joke about us not spending that money here, and I'm sure people will laugh a lot. But yeah, it's kind of sad the way things have ended with Abada, but that's all I'll say on that. He'll be moving on, and you can expect confirmation on that very soon. We'll move on as well. I will be back this time tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about then.